Okay, this video is intended to teach how to install Linux operating system in a VirtualBox or Oracle VirtualBox on Windows host. Okay, for that one may need the VirtualBox setup has to be downloaded from the website. So anyone can go to the VirtualBox website by just typing in Google. Okay, Oracle VM VirtualBox is the setup. We need to download the VirtualBox 6.1, which is the latest version uh, in today's date. And on Windows system, we need the Windows host. Okay, it is around 103 MB package. I have already downloaded this package in my system, so let me cancel it. I have already downloaded this package, so that is there in my other drive. This is the VirtualBox setup too. Along with this, you need ISO image of the operating system. So that ISO image may be from any of the Linux free open source distribution. One may choose the Fedora or CentOS, okay, or maybe Ubuntu. For this particular video, I have downloaded the CentOS ISO image, that is CentOS 8.2.2004, 64-bit DVD1, and it is around, you can see, 7.66 gigabyte uh, of size. So installing the operating system on VirtualBox will be the similar way uh, how we usually install in a fresh computer, fresh machine. The difference is that here we are using VirtualBox where we are going to install the operating system. So the difference is this: here in Windows it will be served as a standalone software instead of an operating system. Also, it is also recommended that you need to have at least 4 GB of RAM dedicated to the VirtualBox. So overall, you need to have at least 8 GB of uh, the RAM for your computer. Next, let us open the VirtualBox. So we have already Windows installed on this particular host. We can install as many as operating system we want to install on VirtualBox. So another operating system now we want to install. So just click on new and then type the name of that particular operating system. So here we are installing CentOS 8 Linux. So I'm giving the name CentOS 8, then Linux, type Linux, then version we have to choose the other Linux 64-bit because there is no list, no entry for CentOS 8. We have all other things, other distributions of Linux, Debian, Fedora, even Red Hat, Oracle, OpenSUSE, Ubuntu, but we do not have CentOS listed here. So other Linux 64-bit. So in this setup, what we are doing, we are uh, configuring the virtual hard disk as well as the virtual system configuration like RAM and hard disk space and all. So let us proceed with the next option. In this section, it is prompting you to select a memory size, that is RAM. So RAM here, let me give it 4 GB. So in CentOS 8 ideally runs well on 4 GB of RAM, minimum 4 GB of RAM. If you have more than 4 GB of RAM, then still it's fine. But less than 4 GB RAM, it will create a lot of trouble. Your system will be slowed down, and a lot of application will be hanged on. So it's better to have more RAM in your virtual machine configuration. Okay, so let us make it more double. Let us make it around 8 GB. Let us. So it's not 8 GB, less than 8 GB, but still we can proceed with. Here, since I have more RAM, at least I have more than 64 GB RAM in this particular host machine, so I can allot a RAM at least up to 32 GB for the virtual machine. So here I am allotting less than 8 GB RAM for the virtual machine setup. So create a virtual hard disk now. So create here a virtual disk image. Just go to next. Then it's always better to be dynamically allocated because later on if we want to increase the size of the hard disk, we can increase it. If we make it fixed size, then we cannot alter the size of the hard disk, and also we cannot change the RAM capacity and all. Okay, so let us proceed with. So again, this is the final prompt. It is asking you to give the total size of your hard disk. So in this I have a total size 2 TB in this particular host computer. So at least I can give less than 2 TB of the space for the virtual machine, but I'll not give less than 2 TB also. I'll give less than means even I'll give 256 GB. So 256 GB space I'm allotting to the hard disk that is to be created for installing this particular operating system. Okay, so let us create it. So in this setup menu, let me make it full screen. In this setup menu, you can see the system configuration as the base memory 8000 MB. It's almost close to the 8 GB of the RAM. Then display, we need to increase to the maximum level. Okay, here only the things to be taken care of for the color. Whenever there are green colors, we can increase up to that level. Here it's a pink color, so even monitor count, we have a one monitor, so no need to increase it, otherwise it will show some error just beneath this window. Just okay. Then next one is storage. We can see the storage capacity is 256 GB of the hard disk, virtual disk image, and then there is an optical drive which is equivalent to the CD-ROM drive or DVD-ROM drive as it was present in the physical uh, computers. So here in the hard drive, in the optical hard drive, what we do, we insert the CD or DVD for installing the particular operating system. The same way we have to insert, that means we have to just choose the disk file which is downloaded already, that is CentOS disk image, that is ISO image. We have to choose at this point, and then blindly we can go for starting the installation. So installation will begin as similar to as the actual process. So by keyboard you can select these things, install and test media and install CentOS 8 and all. So selecting install CentOS Linux 8, we can press enter. The same windows will appear uh, if we try to install the CentOS 8, this particular version of operating system, in a real-time computer or real-time laptop machine. The things only to be taken care of for uh, the space and RAM uh, of the machine. So next, things are very easy. It is just to select the language. Next, at the very beginning, it's a new latest version of CentOS 8. At the very beginning, it is asking to set the root password. Root password is nothing but the administrator password or the super user password. So super user password, for the time being, I am giving a very simple one. Uh, I'm giving it CentOS 8 only. 8. Since password is very weak, so it is showing some warnings here. So we no need to bother about this warning. It's asking to press done twice if your password is weak. So once, twice. So root password is set. Next, installation destination. Here we need to do some useful partitioning. It is showing that your hard disk is 256 GB that we have created for this installation. And automatic storage configuration, if we go for this, it will be automatically partition the hard disk. So that will not be helpful for learning purpose. So I am just going for a custom partitioning. So for custom partitioning, you just click on custom here and then click on done. It will ask you to partition your 256 GB hard disk according to your choice. So in this, LVM is the default. So default, we need to change it to standard partition, and then we can proceed to create the required partition. So here three mandatory partitions are required. First, a boot partition. So boot is denoted as /boot, and space, nowadays it's better to give 1 GB for your boot partition. Add mount point, then your boot partition is created with 1 GB of space. Then again create another partition. So other partition is to be root. Root partition is to be usually denoted as your forward slash, and out of 256 or 255 GB, half of the space I am allotting to the root partition, because most of the packages will install in that partition itself. So it's better to have enough space at the beginning itself. Otherwise, later on, it will be very difficult to allocate the additional space to the created partitions. So this is the root partition, and next mandatory partition is your swap partition. Swap is necessary for running the Linux operating system fluently on any machine. Either it is a VirtualBox or it is in a real time laptop or a desktop workstation computer. So here swap space should be always is double the system RAM. So system RAM is my total RAM of this particular host is beyond 64 GB. So that is a separate thing. But what we have created here, we have given the RAM as 8 GB, 8000 MB we have given. So we can make it double, 16,000 MB is given. So I'm doubling the total RAM size. So RAM size I have given 8000. So here I have given 16,000. So this is a specific measurement. Always has to be remembered for the swap partition. So these three are mandatory partition, and remaining this amount of space we can have in one other partition. We can have any of this other than swap and other this BIOS boot. We can have a var slash var partition, and or we can have a slash home partition where we can save our personal data or user personal data or any downloaded items, pictures, movies and all. We can keep it here. So here no need to do give any space allocation here. It will be automatically taking this remaining spaces. Add mount point. So 139 around GB is allocated to this home, and some are remain as unused. So we cannot do anything for this. So let it be like that. So click on done. Then accept the changes. Then we can see one last thing, what we need. So here by default it is a server with graphical user interface. So better to go by the default options because other than that, if we do servers or minimal installation, we may have only the command line interface. We may not get the graphical user interface. So workstation also will give you graphical user interface with a limited number of packages. So let us go by the default server with GUI, and if we configure server with GUI, definitely that means we are configuring a server computer or server machine. So in that case, in a real-time scenario, if we have to configure a real server machine, we need to enable the ticks to the all servers like FTP servers, file and storage servers, Windows file servers, mail servers and all. So here since it is a demonstration purpose, even after that if we need any packages out of this box, we can get that those packages without any problem. So let us go by default. So we can begin the installation. It will take around 10 to 15 minutes on VirtualBox. So this is going on installing the packages. Almost 1365 packages are going to be installed during the installation. So almost packages are installing. So after installing the packages, it will halt for some time for configuring the kernel. So this will take some amount of time. So this is a post-installation procedure. Post-installation steps are performed by the installer. So it is asking to reboot the system. So let us reboot the system. Here it is asking us to accept the license, so we have to accept the license from here, then done, finish configuration. Then we need to create a username and a new user and password. You can skip this step, connect your online accounts. We may connect by any of these services, or we can skip this step. Then we can add the user. We can add one user or we can add multiple user, but for the initial step, for the first time, we have to add only one user. So user, I'm giving the name Linux only, simple, sorry. So Linux username, I am giving the name as a Linux. Then password, password so a simple password I am keeping here is a demo123. It's a weak password, so no problem. Start using CentOS Linux. So this is the desktop view. This is the desktop view. You can get the other applications like browsers from the activities. The Mozilla, you may have Google Chrome by installing the Chrome separately. Next, we need to connect internet, and also we need to have a full screen view for this particular setup. This is a very small, right? So we need to make it full screen. See, if we do now full screen view, full screen switch, so it is not getting the proper full screen mode. Okay, so we have to configure something to get the full screen view of the installed version of the Linux. Then before that we need to configure our network. So network connection, network configuration is very easy. It's almost nothing when you install any operating system on a virtual machine, VirtualBox, because the network is already connected to the main computer, that is the host machine, and from that host machine network, it is detecting what network it is connected. It's a wired network already connected into this machine. So wired network, we need to just connect it. So network is connected, and we need to add the virtual box guest edition to make this full screen. So that can be added from here, insert devices, insert guest editions CDMAs. So if we do it, it will prompt us to run something. Okay, demo123 was the password. So see, while loading the guest edition of the virtual box, it is showing some errors, showing some messages regarding some kernel headers not found, installing something, it's showing some error. Okay, so not only for this, after any installation, whether you install your Linux operating system in a virtual box or in a real-time machine, after installation always we need to update the kernel headers as well as the underlying packages. Some packages we need to always update. Those packages are compiler packages, library packages, so we need to always uh, update those packages. So how to update is also very easy in Linux operating system. Once you have connected to internet, always this is your friend. Yum is your friend. Okay, Yum is the network manager uh, by using which you can install any of the required packages from the internet. So for this you need to be super user. That means you need to type su in the command line and you need to provide your super user password. Okay, CentOS 8 was the password. And here what we need to do, we have to update or we have to install yum, install some packages. So what are those packages? We need to remember always gcc, all packages gcc, whatever packages starting with gcc, all packages, then make paths, then another one lib zomp. Okay, let us first install this few things. Rest of the things we will install again separately. So minus y will be the option to provide the answer yes to all question comes during the installation of these packages. So we have installed up to zomp, lib zomp, and then after that let us install the remaining things. Yum install zlibc headers, zlibc developmental package, then elf utils dash libelf dash devel. So these are the developmental packages, developmental libraries and compilers. Just pressing enter again, it will install. It will, if I forget to give y minus y option in the yum, I have to press it separately. Uh, all the things can be installed simultaneously at a time, single shot. Next we can install the kernel headers. So install yum install kernel headers and kernel devel. So this is somewhat bigger package. 48 MB package, 48 MB install size. So once it install, then we can install the VirtualBox guest edition and we'll get the full screen view for this. Everything is installed, kernel headers and other required libraries. We can reboot the system. So reboot can be done either from the command line or we can go for this button. Go to the option. So text editor is open, no problem. So we can restart it. So after restarting, we can install the guest edition. So system has got restarted. Then we can log in with the given password demo123 for this user. DEMO 1, 2, 3. Then guest edition we need to install. So guest edition is there in a file manager. It is in there. VirtualBox guest edition run software. Again it will ask to give that user password DEMO 1, 2, 3. That is the password we have given during the installation. So it will take again a little bit of time. Probably again it will ask to reboot the system. As you can see, it is showing that all setup is done well, but the VirtualBox guest edition running kernel module will not be replaced until the system is restarted. So we need to again do a restart. So let us do the restart. Then we'll get the full screen view. So now see, we will get the full screen view of the CentOS 8, which is now fully functioning. This is the command prompt we can use, and this is a complete full screen view. So this is what all about the installation up to this mark. We'll continue with some other video session for using the Linux commands and other things. Thank you for watching.